This underrated opening for black is so powerful. You start with the move d6. They play whatever they want to do, e4, d4, you go for knight f6. I guess this time we are gonna get the London system, which is a very nice opportunity for me to show you how to beat this annoying opening. You still play knight to f6, and they play the Jabava London. Okay, so what I usually want to do, I play knight to g7, and I want to play the move e5. They can play e4, then it would be possible. They can play knight s3. Yes, then we need to choose something else, because this is like the only way they can stop us from playing e5, which is the main idea of the entire opening, the universal defense. But again, we have other opportunities. If we cannot play e5, let's play c5 and try to put pressure on the center. This opening has brought me so many victories and helped hundreds of my students to quickly achieve their goals. I have an entire course covering this exact opening, helping you to build lifetime opening repertoire both for white and black. The link would be in the description. There is an absolutely amazing offer right now. You get a full month of live coaching with me completely for free. Analyzing your games, playing games with you. Check it out. The link is in the description. Okay, d5. I think I can immediately play queen to a5, threatening knight e4, stuff like that. Or maybe just g6, as I'm getting a very good version of some Benoni defense here. I think. Am I wrong? Can I play b5 immediately? I feel like I can put pressure here on my opponent. Like b5, knight takes, queen a5, check. He has to go backwards. Otherwise, he loses the knight. And then I have knight e4. Immediately attacking, right? You want to put that pressure. You want to be as active as possible from the very beginning. Then he can defend it. Yeah, maybe I should wait a bit. I don't know. With that plan. Because I feel if I play queen a5, he always has bishop to d2. And that is a little bit discouraging. On the other hand, I can still play b5. I'm not really afraid of those discover attacks. There is nothing to take. Let me play queen a5. I feel like that is the most active way to go about it, and I want to play b5 immediately, and I stop the move e4, as I'm gonna just take it. If he plays e3, I can still go for knight e4 and try to destroy him from the very beginning. That's my approach to chess. The more active you are, the more chances you get to outplay your opponent. You create pressure, you create threats. Let's see what he's coming up with. By the way, 2278, extremely strong opponent. Imagine how you're gonna crush your under 2000 elo opponent with this cool system. Queen to d2. Yeah, that makes sense to somehow deal with the pin immediately, make a knight e4 not possible, but there is still nothing wrong with the move b5, which was my idea anyway. How do you stop b4 now? I guess I get this counterplay that I wanted to get completely for free. You still cannot play e4 because b4 attacking your knight, the knight goes away and then e4 pawn is hanging. So you cannot achieve what you wanted to achieve. And b4 is even just one of the alternatives. I also have the move c4 so that I can bring my knights to c5, an absolutely best possible position for the knight. So even though we couldn't play e5 in this position because they did everything to stop it, well, you still get this typical queenside counterplay that we normally try to get in the Philidor defense and this universal defense starting with the move d6. They play g3, but that is so slow. I mean, what if I just play b4? I feel like I'm gonna destroy you here before we even come out of the opening. I might be overexcited, but it feels like a dream to get out of the opening, because this g3, bishop g2, it's very slow. It cannot be that big of a deal. I can also prepare like playing b4 with knight to b6, right, and a knight c4 at some point, which would be very annoying for my opponent. Also, I'm just attacking the pawn, or just playing bishop to b7 and threatening to play b4. Is there any point to not playing b4 immediately? That is what I'm trying to understand. And can't really find the answer, so I'm gonna go ahead and play b4, the most active move in the position. As early as move 8 here, I'm already pushing my opponent to the edge of the board. Now I feel that I might get an idea why it was better to wait with the move b4, because now he gets to play knight e3. And then at least he defends the pawn. Yeah, maybe I should have waited with that. So if I play knight e4 now, he gets to play queen d3. I go b3 check, and he blocks it with c3. And then my bishop is under attack. My knight is under attack. But okay, I can continue developing with bishop to b7. He always wants to bring as many pieces into the game as possible. And every single time, I also try to create a threat for my opponent. This is so nice. This is a dream outcome of the opening, and you can achieve that. Yeah, so he plays knight e3 to stop it, and also to get to c4 with the knight, which I should never ever allow. That is why I have prepared this move knight to b6. Not only it stops my opponent's idea, it also attacks the pawn on d5 yet again. How on earth are you gonna save it? Yes, you can play c4, but I can just take it. And then I'm gonna just win this central pawn. And once this pawn falls apart, the entire white's position is just collapsing. And that is almost 2300 rated opponent. This is how you defeat the London system. I hate this opening. This is so boring, but you see, I managed to make it funny anyway. Bishop g2. Okay. Can't I just take it? Probably he has prepared some sort of discover attack, but I doubt it can be so dangerous because he has a bunch of pieces hanging there. Okay, let's calculate it. First, I like a move such as h6, because that would create a threat of g5, just winning the bishop on the spot. And to stop that, he has to play something like h4, but that is, it feels like an improvement for me. Okay, but this knight takes knight takes d5, knight f takes d5 feels the most reasonable. Probably he wants to play knight to g5 or something. And from that perspective, I really like the move h6 first. Let's go for it. Because if he plays h4, that covers two of the squares from his knights to go. He cannot go to g5, cannot go to h4, and otherwise there are not that many good squares. If he has to go backwards to achieve the idea, that would be even better. Wait, what? He ignores my threat completely. Come on, dude. I played h6 with one intention, to play g5. How on earth are you not taking a look at your opponent's ideas? That is simply impossible. I play g5. I'm gonna destroy you. The bishop literally has 0 squares to go. That is why I like those tempi moves, when at the same time you improve that position. Please understand this difference. A lot of players play this hope chess when they make a horrible move, just hoping for their opponent to blunder. But here I combine doing something useful for myself anyway, that is an improvement, and create a threat at some point. Okay, so he sacrifices a piece for 2 pawns, and it's still not game over. It doesn't help you if you play this opening so well, if then you get this fantastic position, if you don't convert it into a full point. And that's where most of the people spoil their chances. So let me show you how exactly you convert your advantage into the victory. I don't like him taking my f6 knight, so I like the bishop g7 move. Just developing the bishop, my rook is already great along the h-file. I just need to think, what do I do with my king? That is not so clear yet. I cannot take on d5 because I don't have enough attackers for that, so I'm gonna play bishop g7. Maybe I'm gonna leave my king somewhere in the center. You know what? The entire point of castling is to make sure that your king is safe. But if after castles, for example here, oh wait, knight f5 is something I haven't considered here, and that feels very annoying. Even though bishop g7 felt like a very logical move, now I feel like I might be in trouble. But okay, everybody makes mistakes. I don't feel bishop g7, I don't know, maybe I should have gone back, but I don't want to do that. Anyway, that helps me to solve the question, what do I do with my king? Because I feel like I have to go here just to defend the bishop and deal with some problems like queen is 3 or something. As otherwise this knight d6 check would be another problem for me, discover check using the pin. Now he takes on g7, I can just take it back with the king. And the more pieces you exchange when your material up and your opponent is trying to checkmate you, the better. That limits your opponent's attacking potential. So that would be fine. Otherwise, I'm even threatening to take this pawn on d5. Yeah, that is why he plays e4. But no, I cannot take it, obviously. What can I do instead? Now that I'm not attacking this pawn anymore, maybe it makes sense for me to jump to c4 with my knight. The problem is he can go ahead and play something like queen f4, and then, yeah, he does create some threats. I might play bishop c8, as I want to exchange pieces, especially this knight on f5. It feels like so powerful one. So I'm threatening to take it. The only way to avoid that is play knight takes g7, but then I take, and again, the more pieces I exchange, the simpler it gets. I like it. Also, my bishop is not great on this diagonal anymore once he has shut it down. You just need to be careful with some, e5 and d6 ideas opening up that bishop. That is a little bit scary. So, for example, bishop c8, knight 8, king takes e5. What do I do in this case? If I take it, then d6. I take on d6, he takes on a8. That is an entire entire rook, sorry, so I have to take it, but then queen takes d6. And that is not great. On the other hand, I do exchange a lot of pieces. That might help. The pawn is hanging. I don't know. I have a lot of weaknesses. This e5 pawn move is serious if I go away with the bishop. So it has drawbacks. But otherwise, he's coming with queen f4. That is also pretty serious. Maybe I can prepare against that. Play something like rook a8 defending that pawn. So after queen f4, I have knight e5 or something. And then e7 is protected. Can play queen f3. Then my bishop is free to go. I like it. Let me play rook to e8. You always want, doesn't matter if you defend or you attack, you always want to bring more pieces so that you can use it to deal with the problems that your opponent creates. You might be wondering, what is this magic board I use in my videos? It's called Chess.Not Evo. And I enjoy it so much, I have it for a year now. It completely transformed the way I play chess and I train chess, because I can play both on Lichess and iChess.com online, but on a real board. It's a completely different experience and I enjoy it a lot. I haven't had any major issues, and that's my favorite product from Chess.Not, because I have everything in one place. I have my books here, I have my studies here, I have my games, but they have so many different products according to your needs and your budget. The best part is, of course, you can use the link in the description as well as the promo code journeytograndmaster to get a big discount on all Chess.Not products. Now, back to video. And here, if he plays queen f4, then I can open up this bishop, play knight h5, and then even bishop takes b2, just get away. If I can save it, that would be great, because it's an important defender. Or maybe exchange it against one of very strong pieces of my opponent. Because I should be careful. There are some threats like bishop h6 check once I get rid of with the bishop. So I should be careful with that. It's not that simple. Also, what I dislike the most, now that the character of the position changed dramatically, this queen on a5 is completely offside. I would like to bring it somewhere like d7 as fast as possible, but I need full 2 tempi to achieve that, and I don't have that time. I now have to deal with the problem, so I play knight h5. Bishop e7. What am I blundering? Why is it so good for my opponent? Well, I have to take. Probably queen takes d8 is his idea. d6. But I have knight c8. And then even my queen is helpful, because queen d8 check is not possible. I don't feel that it's so bad for me. And now, like, again, the more pieces are off the board that my opponent could have used to checkmate me, the more chances I have to stabilize the situation and deal with those threats. I think he regrets his decision. Still very confident. Queen takes d6. Well, queen takes e7 is obviously a huge threat I cannot allow, but knight to c8. I think this is my only move. Like bishop f6, that is much less active. At least he can take and grab some material back. Whereas after knight c8, not only I deal with the problem, I also stop the check, and like everything is protected. Even if he plays queen to b8, well, it's not that simple for him to do anything. I can even play queen to c7. Remember, if you are some material up and your opponent is trying to attack to checkmate, the best thing you can do is to exchange your queens. That is just destroying your opponent's hope to give you a checkmate. I think here queen to c7 is just great. Otherwise, he wants to take my rook, and then my bishop is hanging. It's all connected. But if I play queen c7, he cannot take my rook because the queen is hanging, and if he takes my queen, then the rook goes away and he cannot take it again. I like it a lot. I think that is winning the game. He cannot escape with the queen. That is the most important thing. There is not a single square, so he has to take. But now I take it back, and let's try to count the material, because I have no idea what's going on here. I feel like I have a lot of extra pieces, but not exactly. So I have here 2 more pieces. Oh my god, that is fantastic, isn't it? I am only down some pawns. Quite a lot, probably. 1, 2, 3 pawns for 2 pieces. Well, that feels pretty good for me. I just need to be careful, not allowing him to get too much activity. And he's right, of course, to take my bishop, because otherwise that would have been a monster. But on the bright side, I exchange yet another piece, probably knight takes. So that I have, like now, all I need to do is neutralize his activity. Once I do that, I immediately win. Oops. Let's try to understand. What is the threat? Is it dangerous for us? And what can we do? I assume he wants to play 5, d6, something like that, g4, just trying to push all of those pawns and destroy me with his pawns. The question is, how on earth can I stop that? I can play f6. That does not really stop e5 though, but maybe it makes it not that powerful, because once he plays e5, I can take it, it takes back with the check, and rook f7. If I can exchange a pair of rooks, that is already a huge achievement. Or I can play something like knight b6, stopping the move e5, but then he has d6 immediately, which is by itself maybe not a big problem. I play rook to d7, attack this pawn. If he plays e5, I exchange the bishops. If I manage to exchange the bishops, then knight e5, knight e6 becomes an idea. I like it. I don't like knight g6 because that somehow begs for him to play e5 and try to destroy me. Maybe he's gonna start with the g4 move though, but then I have knight c4. You know, this knight is so tricky. Threatening knight e3, threatening to take the b2 pawn. At least creating some counterplay, making it hard for my opponent. Let me go for it. Maybe he wants to play b3 and just stop my knight's activity, but then I have this move f5 that I have prepared. I don't know, I have a feeling maybe b5 was the best just to begin with. I don't know. Rook d1. Well, here I thought I can play knight to c4 anyway, because that threatens knight a3 with a fork on all of the pieces my opponent has. And it's also threatening to take the b2 pawn with a tempo, attacking that rook. And if he plays d6, the knight is also helpful on c4, it's attacking it, so after rook d7, I'm actually threatening to grab it. So I like that move. Just like that, in 2 tempi, from probably one of the worst pieces on the board, my knight becomes the best one, creating so many threats. So I like it a lot. Okay, he stops me there, but I can grab a pawn with the tempo, that cannot be bad. Because he doesn't really have a good way to stay on the d file. The only square is d2, but then knight c4 with the tempo. And if he goes to b1, then his rook is not doing anything productive. So I can go back to c4, and now again stopping the move d6. Yes, he can play, okay, e5. The drawback of the e5 move, though, is that I can play knight f5. I thought he wants to play g4 first, so he limits my knight's potential, and then he plays e5. But right now, I feel like I should use my momentum and play knight f5. d6 is the only move I have to cover. But wait, rook d7 is not that simple. I thought bishop h3 is the problem, but thank God my rook is also very active here. That makes knight f5 possible. And I just need to block those pawns to make sure they don't go forward anymore. G4 now, hopefully knight f to e3 works, attacking the bishop, attacking the pawn on g4, attacking the pawn on c2. That feels great. And attacking the pawn on d5. That is the most important pawn. If I take that, I solve all of my problems. d6, right? That is the most active. Like, look at that pawn structure. This is so powerful. But hopefully now I'm able to stop that. Just play rook d3. If he would have had this bishop h3 move, that might be quite annoying, but I have covered that. Otherwise, what can you do? I'm about to exchange your powerful bishop, and otherwise the pawns are more or less stopped. Yes, you can play g4, but I always have knight e3. And those two knights are very tricky, controlling a lot of squares, which makes it very difficult for these rooks to do anything. Bishop f1. Okay, that cannot be bad for me, because now my bishop is controlling the entire long diagonal. At some point, even some crazy sacrifices like knight g3, rook h1 check might work. But first, my knight is hanging. Ah, yes, he also wants to play bishop b5, attacking my rook. I can play knight to a3, attacking the rook and stopping bishop b5 at the same time, and attacking the c2 pawn. And then my knight is coming to d4. I feel that it's very powerful. I can play knight d4 immediately, but I don't like this sacrifice. Knight f3 check, king f2, rook takes h2, but still king e3. No, I don't like it. Let's play knight e3 first, and then proceed with the same. Oh wait, I could have played knight d2, that was even better. I somehow wanted to create a threat and stop my opponent's threat at the same time. But this a3 square, it doesn't feel like a very good one for the knight. And d2 would have been great, attacking this guy and threatening knight f3. Yes, he still can play bishop b5 probably, but in the end of the day, that is not so problematic for me. I can just play rook d8 back. Okay, rook b3. But now I can play knight d4, right? I mean, look at this knight on d4. That is something you should be aiming at each and every single one of your games. If your knight can get into the center and it cannot be pushed away easily and it's protected like that, this is like your dream, because the knight immediately controls so many squares, not allowing your opponent to do anything. Here it attacks this rook and it creates a threat of knight to f3, fork, winning some material. It even controls this b5 square once again, so that bishop b5 is not an idea. Rook to e3. Now I have multiple ways to win some material. I don't like a little bit that he is building some tension, but with this knight on d4, I cannot be afraid of anything. It's even defends this e6 pawn, controls the f5 square, just literally absolutely everything. That is why I don't want to play knight f3. Instead, this knight, that is less productive there on a3, I want to take on c2 and fork both of my opponent's rooks. He plays a6. I don't get the point. I don't want to remove. Once you achieve this perfect position, you don't want to touch this piece. Please do not do that. But instead, I can simply take with the pawn. That is going to open up the 7th rank for my rook. I control everything. Okay, the idea was to take. But I feel like he's given up everything. I can take whichever rook I want. And the most... Ah, wait, there is even a checkmate idea or something. Knight f3 check, king f2, rook takes h2 check. It's almost a checkmate. He has bishop g2. But then knight takes e1. Yeah, that feels like I'm winning everything. On the other hand, simple knight takes e1 is also good. So what do I choose? Yeah, let's finish this game beautifully. Knight f3 check. Now, if he goes to this diagonal with the king, then of course I have a discovered check. But here the entire point is this move, rook takes h2. Why? Here, my opponent resigned, not waiting for me to beautifully end the game. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a brilliant example of how you use this universal defense to crush absolutely everything, even the London system. In this playlist, you can learn more about how to deal with e4, d4, whatever move your opponent throws at you. Don't forget about the amazing opportunity. You get 50% off if you join the 10-day Opening Mastery right now, and a full month of live coaching with me included. The link is in the description. Take a look at it.